Hey guys, time for another Tech News Day.
And boy, am I sweaty.
It's hot outside.
So we've spent the last 2 weeks of this show being mean to Elon Musk, and by extension, being mean to the disturbingly high number of Elon Musk stans out there. But luckily for everyone, it's been a pretty quiet week for Space Jesus.
Yeah.
Hopefully all that fallout over him basically accusing a Thai cave rescue hero of being a pedophile just because that guy criticized him was the sort of rock-bottom wake-up call that he needed to step back and realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm extremely rich and successful and probably shouldn't be spending all day on Twitter, clapping back at every single person who doesn't think I'm the coolest person ever. Maybe that's not the best use of my time as the owner of multiple companies.
Oh, who are we kidding? He probably finally shut the fuck up because his lawyers told him he was going to end up getting sued eventually. Well, he did end up tweeting out an apology, but it wasn't even a top-level tweet, just a reply to some article written by a Tesla fan, and it barely qualified as an apology, featuring the sort of, but he started it, shit that you would, get when you make kindergartners apologize to each other. But whatever. Fine, let's move on. We're just happy to put a nice little bow on the top of that whole stupid saga, so we can now move on with our lives and shit on some other defenseless billionaire tech CEOs who have way fewer keyboard warriors white knighting for them. Case in point, Mark Zuckerberg. What a great example.
All right, no one's going to defend Mark Zuckerberg.
And how could they?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to shit on Mark Zuckerberg because unlike Elon Musk, the products that Zuckerberg makes don't really help anyone, and if anything, have made the world worse.
Yes.
Plus, even though Elon's pathological need to confront his critics online is a bad look that reeks of an insatiable need to be loved, at least it's a personality trait. Mark Zuckerberg, on the other hand, regularly hosts Facebook live streams from his backyard to try to appear more human, but only succeeds at doing the exact opposite. Even the way he stands and walks looks like something an alien learned by watching really fuzzy satellite transmissions from Earth. And for a billionaire to have that haircut is a bit psychotic.
Well, you save money on haircuts if you just buy the Flowbee, which is just that vacuum that sucks your hair in and chops it up.
Mark, you're a billionaire. You don't have to pinch pennies anymore.
Well.
But hey, plenty of tech CEOs are socially inept dweebs. Zuckerberg sucks in particular because we'd all be better off if Facebook just didn't exist.
Yeah, there's of course the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal where it turned out it was really fucking easy for a really long time for Facebook apps to collect information on users, even though you maybe have not ever used or authorized those apps. It also assembled detailed psychological profiles of users so that they could then push targeted political propaganda on them. And then there's similarly the fact that the Russian government was able to effortlessly purchase target posts related to the 2016 US election while running a vast network of bots. And the fact that in both of these cases, Facebook didn't really do jack shit to address it until after the fact when, the media finally picked up on it, also not a good look. But anyway, to Zuckerberg's credit, he did say in an interview last week when asked about Cambridge Analytica that, quote, I designed the platform, so if someone's going to get fired for this, it should be me.
Oh!
To me, it seems like he's begging for it. Please, let me just put this whole thing behind me.
But he's not gonna do it.
So I can barbecue in my backyard.
Just want my ribs and my sweet baby rays. Smoked meats.
What are you guys making for dinner? Brisket and ribs, I hope. Delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he's not gonna get fired. He's not gonna fire himself, come on. So the big takeaway there is that Mark Zuckerberg just doesn't think anything related to the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which triggered multiple congressional hearings, was bad enough for anyone to lose their job over. All right, now similarly in that same interview with Kara Swisher of Recode, Zuckerberg was asked about why fake news and shit like Holocaust denial was still allowed on his platform, and his responses were pretty indifferent. Asked about why Infowars is allowed on Facebook, he gave a typical long-winded answer where he said that as long as people aren't explicitly planning violence, fake and misleading news is actually totally fine. And the fact checkers, they'll make sure it ends up farther down in the newsfeed algorithm hours later after enough people have flagged it. And of course this is done on an article by article basis, so.
Could take a while.
Super efficient, guys.
Yeah. He's basically saying that the old adage of if one source says it's raining outside and one source says it's sunny, well, boy, it's time to stick your head out the window and figure out for yourself.
No, that means it's partly cloudy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a middle ground there.
Yeah.
But if it is sunny out, make sure to flag it so that someone can get on top of this right now.
And then the next day, like, you're right. It wasn't raining. It didn't rain yesterday. Thanks.
Whoops. Now, here's part of that long-winded answer that he gave. The approach that we've taken to false news is not to say you can't say something wrong on the internet. I think that would be too extreme. Everyone gets things wrong, and if we were taking down people's accounts when they got a few things wrong, then that would be a hard world for giving people a voice and saying that you care about that. Which is a pretty bullshit false equivalence. Yeah, Facebook users are allowed to be wrong about things, but you weren't fucking asked about users, Mark. You were asked about Infowars, a website that regularly pushes objectively false stories calling mass shootings hoaxes and claiming Democrats are about to stage a civil war. That's not just wrong, that's dangerous. Also, keep in mind, just for perspective, that Facebook regularly takes down anything even coming close to nudity. So they clearly have a concept of what qualifies as decency on their platform, and their official stance is that bare butt cheeks are more indecent than calls for nut jobs to get ready for a fucking civil war. So at least we're not seeing butt cheeks.
Yeah, thank God. Now the interview, it's kind of infuriating. It really needs to be read or listened to in its entirety to get the full effect, because yeah, there's audio. But interviewer Kara Swisher, she next rightly points out that the idea that the Sandy Hook shooting, really happened and wasn't a hoax, that's a fact. And it's not really debatable, so why not just take that down? To which Zuckerberg, again, dodges and weaves, refusing to just answer the fucking question, and instead saying that if a user personally messages a Sandy Hook victim and tells them they're a liar, well, that's harassment, and that's gonna get taken down.
Okay.
Okay, but where did they get that idea, Mark?
Infowars.com.
Zuckerberg next, without even being prompted, brings up literal Holocaust denial, saying, "I'm Jewish, and there's a set of people who deny that the Holocaust happened. I find that deeply offensive. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that our platform should take that down, because I think there are things that different people get wrong. I don't think that they're intentionally getting wrong, but I think..."
All right, now Kara Swisher interrupts him here with, in the case of the Holocaust deniers, they might be, but go ahead. Because it turns out Mark Zuckerberg doesn't know jack shit about Holocaust denial and actually thinks it's just a big misunderstanding and not an idea that's actively spread by neo-Nazis who know full fucking well that the Holocaust actually happened. Anyway, Zuckerberg stands his ground here saying, "I just think, as abhorrent as some of those examples are, I think the reality is also that I get things wrong when I speak publicly. I'm sure you do. I'm sure a lot of leaders and public figures we respect do too. And I just don't think that it is the right thing to say, we're going to take someone off the platform if they get things wrong, even multiple times."
So, yeah, I mean,
It's a
right?
weird stance.
Get it? I mean, hey, guys, we all get some things wrong. Some of us think the Berenstain Bears were actually the Berenstain Bears. Some of us think the most well-documented mass extermination of people in history is a Jewish globalist hoax. And those two things are completely equal. A lie, a lie. The same thing.
Yeah.
Completely equal. So, yeah. Anyways, that interview went up last week, and the reaction was shockingly pretty negative. Here's the New York Daily News. They published this beautiful front page. Zuckerberg on fake history. Holocaust deniers deserve a voice. Says Facebook won't ban them because plenty of people get things wrong.
Wow. Not mincing words, but they rarely ever do.
Yeah, so finally realizing that he had expressed an opinion that lots of people found to be fucking idiotic, Zuckerberg emailed Kara Swisher to clarify his remarks.
"I enjoyed our conversation yesterday, but there's one thing I want to clear up. I personally find Holocaust denial deeply offensive, and I absolutely didn't intend to defend the intent of people who deny that. Our goal with fake news is not to prevent anyone from saying something untrue, but to stop fake news and misinformation spreading across our services. If something is spreading and is rated false by fact checkers, it would lose the vast majority of its distribution in newsfeed. And of course, if a post crossed the line into advocating for violence or hate against a particular group, it would be removed. These issues are very challenging, but I believe that often the best way to fight offensive bad speech is with good speech."
If there's a bad guy with a speech,
You gotta get a good guy with a speech. Yeah.
So yeah, his...
Not really the Hatfields and the McCoys in this situation with Holocaust denial, but okay, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people agree there's the good guys and the bad guys here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that clarification, not really a clarification at all, just literally repeating the exact same talking points from the interview. The talking points that got you in trouble the first time. No, you don't understand. Let me just repeat the things I said, but more concisely.
They should have just asked him a hypothetical future scenario where 30 or 40 years from now, there's a group on Facebook who actively believes and pushes the narrative that 9/11 didn't happen. Despite the fact that you can also visit old concentration camps in Germany and Poland, you could also visit the memorial in New York City. It's a fact. It happened. Well
But
documented.
who did it?
But who's gonna say?
Who took those towers down? Was it the reptilians or was it the demons?
I don't know.
Because
Anyways,
it sure as shit wasn't Osama bin Laden.
and it wasn't the Saudis.
It's also important to note as well here that it's not like Zuckerberg was caught off guard by those questions about Infowars and the Holocaust and that, which he himself brought up. Earlier this month, CNN Money's Oliver Darcy attended a Facebook event specifically about how they planned to fight fake news and misinformation. A great venue to ask questions specifically about this. So he asked them why Infowars is still on the platform, and he got an answer he didn't find very satisfactory. An answer being that Infowars is still up because they haven't actually violated any of Facebook's guidelines. When Darcy tweeted about this, Facebook responded, "We see pages on both the left and the right pumping out what they consider opinion or analysis, but others call fake news. We believe banning these pages would be contrary to the basic principles of free speech."
And yeah, okay, I guess it's time to remind everyone once again that free speech as a legal concept only pertains to not getting prosecuted for things you say. And that even then, there's a bunch of exceptions that the Supreme Court has established over the last 2 centuries. Free speech as a general, social, non-legal concept on a platform like Facebook means not punishing users for things they say, which, yeah, I mean, we get that. That's obvious. We all understand that. But maybe, just maybe, your platform would be better off if you actually did have limits on some free speech, if that speech is actively seeking to misinform people on purpose or push an agenda. As Politico writer Jason Schwartz said on Twitter in response to that tweet, Facebook's inability to place Infowars outside the usual right-left paradigm in response to Oliver Darcy's story is pretty remarkable. The site objectively publishes false information, not a matter of some considerate opinion or analysis.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills when people take Infowars seriously.
Yeah.
It's hundreds, maybe even thousands of just like absolute outright fucking lies.
Yeah.
Published by
documented
that site.
lies.
Yes.
Proven wrong multiple times.
They are currently being fucking sued by the Sandy Hook parents, and they'll probably lose.
But if, wait, I got a secret plan here to get him off Facebook. You just got to keep showing the clips of when, what's his name, takes his shirt off all the time.
Oh,
Alex Jones. That big red chest, not gonna fly on Facebook
No,
probably.
that is sexual content.
Too much skin. Those pecs.
Those
ooh.
pills made him too sexual.
Yeah. Start getting all funny in my pants whenever I see that. And I better
That's
report
what a
that
man
to Facebook.
looks like. Have you seen his new beard lately?
Oh, yeah,
He grew a beard. Now he's like even more rugged than before.
Just rubbing minoxidil all over his face to get that beard going.
Anyway, as for the question of why Facebook just throws their hands up and says, "Oh, shucks, nothing we can do," on the topic of fake news and hate speech on their platform, well, the answer is simple. It's money, of course. UK Channel 4's investigative news show Dispatches recently aired an episode where they sent someone undercover to work at a company that Facebook contracts with for content moderation. And here's some insight into why Infowars is still around. A moderator tells the undercover reporter that the far-right group Britain's First pages were left up despite repeatedly featuring content that breached Facebook's guidelines because, quote, they have a lot of followers, so they're generating a lot of revenue for Facebook. The Britain First Facebook page was finally deleted in March 2018 following the arrest of deputy leader Jada France. And so yeah, basically make as much money as you can off this thing, and then finally take action when it becomes absolutely inexcusable for the content to still be up. But milk every last penny out of it while there's still some plausible deniability.
I mean, the best method is to do what I and thousands of other people have. Just don't go on Facebook anymore.
I
Deactivate your account, delete your account.
I mean, I go on like once a week because there's still like family and invitations and stuff like that, but it's not, I don't go on regularly at all because it fucking sucks. It's just like not an enjoyable website.
I only still have an account because of the Internet Today Facebook page, which needs to remain up because of business reasons. So it's up there. I have to be the admin of it. It's the only reason I haven't deleted it. I log in maybe once a month to like clear out the notifications and boom, I'm done. So yeah, one scroll through. I got curious like last month because it was my birthday this month, so it wasn't last month, it was this month. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make sure I respond and said, yeah, thanks for the birthday wishes or whatever like that. One scroll through the timeline, and I was like, I am so glad I never come on this fucking site anymore.
It's the worst.
It's terrible.
It's the worst.
Anyways, can social media content actually incite real world violence? Who's to say? Oh wait, shit, it totally does. Facebook bears a pretty large responsibility for recent violence in Myanmar by majorly dropping the ball on moderating racist nationalist posts, and a study from the University of Warwick in the UK was able to show a strong correlation between posts to the far-right AfD party in Germany and actual anti-refugee violence, even finding that communities with higher numbers of ISP outages in a given week ended up with fewer hate crimes.
Wow.
Similarly, they found that hate crimes in the US are correlated with how often Donald Trump tweets, and attacks on specific minority groups go up the more he tweets specifically about them. Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg are being pretty fucking willfully ignorant for people who are sitting on an absolute treasure trove of data on how human beings think.
Yeah, no, they are sticking their head so far in the sand here.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because we've been having this conversation for almost 2 years now. Like, and they're just like, I just don't see what the big deal is.
Guys,
could we have done more?
It's the only way we make money. God.
Anyways, that's enough about Mark Zuckerberg for now. Let's end this episode on a lighter, slightly less infuriating note. Vomit fraud. That's a new term you need to know because apparently some Uber drivers out there are padding their paychecks with fake reports of passengers throwing up in their cars. And it's kind of the perfect crime. You see, drunks are Uber's bread and butter. Ride sharing is an absolute godsend to people who like to go drink at bars because it lets them leave the car at home and really go all out.
Yeah.
But that also means that people throw up in Uber vehicles fairly often, which screws over the driver because they can't get back to driving and picking up fares until that mess in their back seat is dealt with.
Yeah, so at first glance, the vomit tax, it's fair and it makes sense, damn it. It's usually around $150, but that's fair considering all the money the driver is, missing out on while they get the vomit out of their car, and also the cost that it takes to clean up because it takes a lot of scrubbing to get that smell out.
Lingers.
Yes, it does. However, it's also really easy for drivers to abuse. Having trouble making rent this month? Tack on a vomit tax to some of your rides. Now, for one thing, they might not even notice the charge, but even better, if they do notice it and try to dispute it, Uber has a policy of taking the driver's side in these specific instances because there's a lot of drunk people and drunk assholes who puke in cars and try to deny it.
Yeah.
Who would want to pay this fee? First of all, I don't remember puking.
I'm pretty sure I would remember puking.
Yeah. Second of all, it happens a lot, I'm sure.
No, I've been in an Uber when someone puked. It was quite a scene. The driver was not happy.
I've been in plenty of Ubers that keep trash bags in their seats, so that people, in case people need to throw up, they can do it there.
A lot of them, the guys.
I've also been in a car rideshare car where Elliot threw up, but he was nice enough.
I used the window.
He was nice enough to open the entire door on the highway and puke out of the car.
Yeah, done that multiple times.
To be fair, it was in a different country, so free and clear.
Hot country.
It was very hot out.
Although, this country's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Miami Herald, they recently did a whole piece on vomit fraud and found lots of people in Miami alone who had fallen victim to it, including one guy who says he was wrongly charged for vomit cleanup twice in one night.
Well, that's almost believable, though. If you've done it once, you might do it again.
Maybe. We don't know if these people are lying to the news. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. It's the thing. One of the Miami Herald's own journalists says that she once ordered an Uber, which never arrived, so she canceled it and ordered a new one, only to notice later that she had been charged $16 for that ride she never took, and a $6 cancellation fee, and a $150 vomit tax. How can someone vomit in a ride they canceled?
Ghost vomit.
And what's extra crazy is that the drivers do actually have to submit photo evidence of vomit in their car, but it sounds like a lot of the scammers, they just take a bunch of photos, like different photos when someone actually does puke in their car, get it from like every angle. So then they keep those on file for the next time they feel like screwing over a customer. They have a whole Rolodex of vomit pics.
I love the idea too, as an Uber driver, like someone pukes in your car and you're like, cool, finally.
Sweet.
I can really milk
photo
this.
shoot.
And I just imagine them as artists going in and like modifying the way that the puke looks to get a picture that's like, oh, it doesn't look the same at all. Scraping a little bit out so the puke looks different, doing a different like splatter angle, maybe grabbing some with a plastic bag and like flicking it up on the side of the car door. Really getting creative with it. And I guarantee that's happened.
I wonder if one of them's like gotten impatient, like, man, nobody's vomiting and I want to do the vomit fraud thing.
Fucking
so they buy that like prank vomit or the prank poop.
Yeah.
Just put it on there. Oh, someone pooped in my car.
Yeah, or just like go.
It's a perfectly picturesque poop.
No, you just go put some like beans and like some celery and all that
Pea
stuff
soup
into a blender and then just toss that in your car. It's the perfect crime.
Yeah, no smell.
Not a cool
Smells
crime.
delicious.
It's very close to a cool crime, but not a cool crime.
No, there's nothing cool about this crime. Denied.
No, the only thing that's
bail
cool is
denied.
just me imagining them like artistically creating the perfect numerous amounts of vomit spray. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But not cool to the customer. Anyways, yesterday we talked about a guy who was simultaneously driving for Uber and also Twitch streaming his customers without their permission, which was a shitty thing to do and resulted in him being banned from both Uber and Twitch. But honestly, the only thing that would ensure vomit fraud doesn't happen is if Uber makes it mandatory for drivers and passengers to be recorded during trips. For many, that might sound a bit invasive, but there's currently nothing standing between you and being falsely accused of being a Uber puker. But also, you can just be like, well, lost the footage. But this is, in California, it's even, I believe, legal to record the passengers as long as there is a, you have to have a thing that says you're being recorded.
Yeah, you're being recorded.
Live streaming, completely different story.
Oh yeah, totally different. Yeah. But like that Del Taco executive, or Taco Bell executive who like tried to beat up his driver.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy had a dash cam.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of them.
Luckily, he did.
Yeah, I've been in a bunch where they have it, and it's like, I don't care. At least I'm not being like set up.
Well, yeah, no, and if it's not being live streamed or used for someone else's sick enjoyment, then it's
just
fine.
for like insurance purposes.
Yeah. Now, okay, what do you think? Are you willing to sacrifice your privacy in exchange for not being framed for a vomit crime? Let us know. Because this is all based on the fact that everyone gets fucked up and takes Ubers constantly.
Yeah. And like, also, I take Uber so often, especially during, certain periods of time. I'm not checking my receipts every time they email them to me. Like, I'm not like poring over my credit card statements for like inaccuracies. Yeah. It would be very easy to pin a vomit crime on me and get away with it.
You heard him. Uber drivers of LA, watch out. This man is a phantom puker. Me, I always check the receipts. I need to know when I got home. Need to make sure I didn't leave anything. Need to make sure they didn't overcharge me. I've had people who like keep the meter running and just drive.
Oh.
Tack on an extra $5-10. Not fair. Gotcha.
Not cool.
Gotta check the maps, Elliot. Gotta be proactive.
Yeah, shit.
And I don't even have a car. I take Uber so much.
I'm a total mark.
Yeah.
Man.
Look at this guy. They see you coming a mile away.
Here he comes. Here he comes. Start the meter.
Still looking good.
Anyways, if you didn't watch that episode from yesterday about the Twitch streamer Uber driver.
Yeah.
Check that out. And also a new episode of News Dump that somehow managed to run 34 minutes long.
Despite having nothing about Comic-Con in it.
Yeah.
But we talk about the Aquaman trailer and stuff like that in yesterday's episode, so just go watch those.
Yeah. Did we love it? Did we hate it?
You'll find out.
You'll find out.
You already know. See you guys.